Hello and welcome back to the Gadget Man 369 channel. Today, if all goes right, we'll be finishing this rocket. As you can see, this is the one I built. It isn't that perfect because it's really hard to sit there and focus and be able to manipulate your position and everything while you got a camera going and all that stuff's in the way. But this is what I got so far. Alright, and the paint's on there. Explain a little bit about that in a while. Yeah, well, yellow. Yeah, let me explain about this paint. Here's what happened to me. Oh, I didn't have any yellow paint. So what did I do? I did fog on the primer, like I said, and all that, and lightly scuff sanded it. And then I sprayed some red paint over the dark primer, which is red oxide. And I really didn't like the way that color looked, and I really wanted yellow, but I didn't have any yellow. So I ended up going to the store and I picked up some yellow paint. And I tried to spray the yellow paint over the top of that red paint. And this yellow is so transparent, it was like, gee, I'd have to put the whole can of paint on this rocket. Probably end up weighing 2 pounds when I got done. That ain't no good. So after one coat and decided that, I let it dry a bit, I scuffed it off, and I put white primer on. Whenever you're using the red and white and any transparent paints, you gotta use white primer. So once I got the white primer on and let it dry fairly quickly, I then scuffed that off, and I got 2 coats of this yellow over there, and now it looks correct. The only problem is I weighed this thing, and it went from under an ounce, which it should have came out, parachute and all, about 0.80 ounce. It came out to 1.48 ounces, and that's without the motor. You know, I also, because of that, I had to build a new parachute. I had to go from that 8-inch one to a 16 because of the added weight. It would just come down too fast and destroy itself when it hit the ground. Anyway, that's the way that went. As you can see, those decals, I'm going to explain briefly, but not show you everything about this. You know what? It helped to turn the light on. Here we go, we got light. Okay, now, these are all hand painted, and I had to cut out some little templates. I couldn't do that good of a job on this because of the camera. Well, it's not the camera, but it's just learn as you go, you know. But I don't like the way the lettering came out. It's too thin. But if I turn this over, there's my first test one, and I really like the thickness of the text on that, or the font, if you want to call it that. So I got that side finished, and I'm going to show you how I did that. And of course, you could take your time on this and make it perfect. I mean, some of this decal stuff is going to take you longer to do than building half of this rocket. And there's what I did. I hand painted that. The number 14 on there, I just winged that with a toothpick. As you can see, the welding, if you look close on there, that's just like the welding of the glue, and now you can see why I did that. And it looks like it's not made out of paper. It looks like it's made out of aluminum or something, and it was welded together. Kind of a cool effect. I painted some silver and stuff back there. I looked at a real Raptor photograph of the engine, and I kind of just dotted on some red and some fine details. That paint I used on here is called gunmetal. Not gunmetal blue, but gunmetal. And then I added a little bit of a tinge of green on it over the top of that, just to give it some texture. Anyway, that's this. Okay, now let's put this aside and see if I can put it somewhere where I won't crush it. Then I'll have a crumpled up rocket. What I'm going to be covering today is a little bit of the paint on the decals and stuff. I already covered how I made the color on there. Also, I'll be covering the computer software I use to determine how high this will go, and I'll give you that information. And boy, what a difference in altitude. Because this thing came out too heavy, and the idea behind the rocket is to make it super light. It's like, now it's kind of super heavy for its size. That little motor has trouble lifting any weight at all, so it's got to be light as possible. So if you keep the weight down under an ounce, it'll fly a lot higher. When I calculated the altitude at 0.8 of an ounce, it flew 280 feet, which is pretty amazing for that little motor flying that size of a rocket. But when I added all that other weight with the paint and the bigger parachute, and it almost came out, it came out to 1.78 ounces or something, including the parachute and the engine. So it flew only on the computer software. It simulated 180 feet, and it's like, oh man, that's still not bad for what we're doing here, but I lost 100 feet because I made it too darn heavy. What I'm going to do is I'll make a whole new one of those, and it'll be much easier because I won't have to deal with the camera and all that junk in the way, and I can just get down and focus on perfection, you know. And this rocket came out a little bit sloppy. There's some things wrong, but it couldn't be helped because of all this video equipment stuff in the way. Anyway, without further ado, let's finish this sucker. Let me show you something about the paints I'm using. This paint, if you can find it anywhere, is so good you couldn't believe it. It's a water-based acrylic model paint, and I have to say, this is some of the best model paint I've ever used. I don't know what brand that is, but there's a matte varnish that you want to use if you're going to use masking tape to mask off your decal attempts, and that's what keeps all the paint from running underneath here. And I made this little guy here to hold the paint in place. This is not going to be an easy video. I really can't put the rocket up here and try and paint something on that rocket. So what I'm going to do is take a scrap piece of paper and let's pretend that's the side of the rocket model. Okay? And I made these templates. Let me show you this one. Okay? I laid that out. It's 3/4 of an inch high on mine, and the spacing in between each letter is 1/8 of an inch, and also the width of the lettering is 1/8 of an inch. Now here's something important. You know, as you saw on the rocket model, actually, that I didn't like the lettering and it came out too thin. So that was just a trial and error thing. This one here I got where I think it looks pretty darn good. I haven't cut it out or anything yet. Okay, take this X-Acto blade. Okay, and this was, yeah, that was a 360. Just let me cut it, just like one letter out here so I could demo on what to do. Now, because like before, this is a template, so what we got to do is we're going to cut that pencil line off. So when I trace this on the model, the lettering will come out at the right thickness and stuff. If you don't, it's going to come out small like you saw the error on my rocket. So cut like that. I'm going to do all these horizontal lines first. Makes it easier. Remember, cut the line off. I don't even need to worry about that. Okay, so now I'm going to come over here. Okay, cut the line off. I'm going to just do one letter. This is what I'm going to use on the new rocket that I'm going to build, so I can make me a good one. Okay, that whole thing is just going to come off of there. Okay, so cut the line off. Yeah, if you waste your time cutting that out, you'll be wasting your time. This piece is... Okay, I forgot that part. The whole thing's going to pop out, and what you're going to do is kind of wing this. You could fake that in there. Okay, cut the line off. I don't need to show you how to lay this out. I'm pretty sure you already would know how to do that. See, did I get everything? Not quite. Okay, this one here, cut the line off. You want to take your sweet time about this. Okay, cut the line off. Okay, let's see if I got it this time. Okay, I gotta go with over that a little bit. These curves are so hard to cut. They're kind of hard to draw out too. Thought I cut that. Get that. Here I am in a hurry again. That's why I'm not gonna actually use this on any rocket right now, because I want to sit there. That might take me over an hour to cut all that out. Okay, let's see. Put this back on. Alright. So here's what I'm gonna do. Just pretend this is the side of your rocket. I'm not sure how that paint's going to go on this paper. There's no finish on it. There's no paint on it. But anyway, on the rocket, you kind of, this pencil, you're going to, you have to go like this, because you can't hardly see the pencil line over that paint. But you can. Okay, so on the rocket, I'm just pretending I'm doing this on the rocket. Not pressing really hard, but I've got to get that graphite just enough where you could barely see it on the rocket. So I'm just pretending I'm trying to get this lead on the rocket. Okay, there's that. Now here's what you can do. See that line right there? Okay. Remember now, we're not cutting this out. This is what we're going to be painting. So there's a 1/8 of an inch. So the tricky part is when you get up here, you want to try and keep that at 1/8 of an inch, and here to here 1/8 of an inch. And on the rocket, you're not going to see it this dark, not even close. And there's what you'll see on the rocket to a point. Okay, now what you need is a thing of water. Now if you look at this brush, this is what I had available on hand right now. It's kind of stiff. If you look really close, there's kind of a squared edge on that. And that's like really thin. That's probably a 1/16 of an inch tip. Okay, got that tip right here on the brush is square. Okay. Now here's something you want to do. You can make a palette. This is what I did. I don't know. Kind of wasting tape. Oops, that wasn't very good. Get it straight on there. A couple of pieces of tape. Okay, I got this ready to go. Make sure you shake that up really good. I've had these paints for a long time now, several years, and it just doesn't go bad. It's really good stuff, you know? Yeah. I did find it on eBay. Yesterday I went on there, gee, I wonder if I can even get this paint, and boy, they got some like on eBay sites, and they got all the colors that you possibly want. Okay, now here's a trick. You take your brush, you wet it. Okay. Got a paper towel. Okay, now just wipe that on there. Alright. Now here's what you're gonna do. You don't want to put a lot on there, like glue. You don't want to waste it. Just a little bit like that. Wipe that off there like that, and that stupid thing came apart. Okay. Okay, just like that. Put the lid back on, put that back in the thing there. And now, oh, this is going to be fun without my magnifiers. Let's see. Okay, get about that much paint on the brush. You don't want to get the paint up into the ferrule. If the paint dries in there, then it's just junk, you know. Now here's what you're going to do. See, this is why I needed to do this without the rocket, because I really couldn't show you here. Okay, so I'm going to start with this one. And if that was a rocket, it would be, you know, sitting that way. And here we go. You're going to put that paint okay, it got quiet. I was holding my breath. Okay, a little bit more paint on there. Hold your breath while you're doing that. It helps steady you. Like that. Okay. I'm afraid I'm gonna... Let me get rid of some of that. Okay. Okay. Sometimes, if you look real close here, you're not sure about, you know, first you want to just set it down right here. Now you know where that paint's going. You know what? I don't like that. Okay. You turn that rocket, everything would be in the way. I'm going to start here. Push down on that brush a little bit. Get it over the top of that line. Can't go too far. Like I said, this is going to take a long time. I mean, if you had some decals, but I like to just use paint. Okay, you can see what I'm doing here. Trying to come up to that line. Okay. Try to make that line straight, and my trace wasn't that darn perfect. Now here's the tricky part. You have to inch your way around. It almost feels like you're dabbing the paint more than you're brushing it. Turn it. Hold your breath. Go real slow. Okay. This will definitely add to your skill repertoire. Okay, let's see. I want to come over there this way. Get this side. Always want to test that paint. Okay, like that. Okay, being as I have it this way, I can get this one here. See, if you got it facing you, that line, you'll be able to see what the heck you're doing. And when you hear me pausing, I'm actually holding my breath. As you're going, that paint's going to kind of start drying out. See, I'm kind of dabbing that. Dab, dab, dab. Okay. Got my 1/8 of an inch on there. That's what I'm paying attention to. Okay. Whew. Take a couple of breaths. Now, here's the tricky part. Okay. You want to not have a whole heck of a lot of paint on there. Okay, what I need to do, clean that brush. Okay. Okay, there's a little bit of moisture in that brush. Okay, that paint's trying to dry out, so thin it out back to where it was. Don't make it too thin, then it won't cover it. And now I'm using very little paint. Notice how that tip of that brush looks. See the square? Rotate this so you have that square part flat against here. Okay, notice I'm not painting, I'm dabbing. Okay, start back a little bit so you don't have any accidents. There we go with that. Okay, come over here and do that one. Okay, now some dabbing. Looks like there's enough paint on there. I'm rotating that brush to keep that flat. Dab, dab, dab. Okay, very little paint. Dab, 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 up to that line. Okay, now you can see some imperfections on that edge. Come back and fix any imperfections. It's always good to brace your hand. See how if this is on the rocket, you'd put a couple of fingers out on it, but keep your hands lightly braced on that rocket while you're painting this to steady your hand. Otherwise, you might end up with some shaky looking text. So you can come back and look for the imperfections and fix them. Okay, I don't particularly like that one little area right here. Dab, dab, dab. Then there's one here. That corner. Okay, I see another imperfection. Very little paint on that brush. Let's see if I can get this corner. Good. And I got some lead showing right here. I'm going to bring that right over the top of that. And there we go. When that's dry, you can actually lightly take an eraser if you have some pencil line there. But yeah, and there we are. There's one decal. That one came out way better than the whole rocket I've been doing so far. So now I know that my template I made, this is the thickness I want. Now here's how you clean the brush, okay? Now here's the trick. See how I'm rotating that? Push it up against the side at about a 45-degree angle and just rotate it. You know, maybe for 20-30 seconds. Just like that. That's a trick I've never seen anybody do. Look how clean that brush is. It'll get all the paint out of that furrow and out of the brush hairs. A little bit of stain there, but now it's ready to go. You won't ruin your brush. Okay, let's say you had made a oops on your rocket. a little accident there. Okay, this is where you would take your yellow. Let's see if I can get any. I gotta get a new yellow, like that. Okay. Okay, like this. I won't be using the yellow anymore, so what you want to do is when you store the paint, just take your tip, barely touch that, put the lid on, and that'll keep the paint from drying on the end of that. Let's see if that black dried. This, when you do this, like on the rocket, because yellow is so transparent, might have to go over it in 2 coats. There's one. Let it dry between coats. Just a little bit of like that. This is only a demo to show you what to do on your rocket. If I was you, I'd practice on a piece of paper before you mess it up on the rocket, you know. Let's see what we got here. Oops, okay, more paint. There we are. Okay. Now what you want to do is feather the edges. If this was on the rocket, go around that repair and brush out, if you can, the paint. Okay? You can definitely see that on here, but this color matches more of the rocket. That's it. Put it on top of there. Just wanna. Now we're gonna clean that brush. About 20 seconds should do it, because I had very little paint in that brush. Oh-dee-do, I'm rotating that, see? If you have oil paints and you're painting oil and whatever, any kind of painting oil paintings, you're gonna clean your brushes. That's a trick that works so good, it's scary. Okay, like that. Now your brush is clean. Okay. Here's what a template looks like. I cut it out and going, the other letters are missing. And it's too hard to line it up. So what I did was I made a template with the whole SPEARXPR. And again, XPR stands for Experimental Paper Rocket. Now here's the thing. See that thing's curved? Remember that ribbon trick? I don't know if I could show you that, but you put this on the edge of a sharp edge of a table or wood or something, and you pull it down and you ribbon this, all of this nice and round. So when you lay this on top of the rocket, it sits flat all the way around. Then you take some tape, masking tape, that blue stuff, put one here, put one there, maybe one over here and over here. Make sure it's down flat and it's straight this way on the rocket. So you got tape here, you got tape there, there, and there. That'll hold it all down nicely. And you trace that out with your pencil. And as you're getting close to these kind of weaker spots, take your finger and hold down on it while you're tracing that out. But also, this is a double layered laminated sheet, which you already should know how to make. So you make a laminated sheet, wait overnight, and then lay that out using a straight edge or that little thin protractor that I was using. That's what I actually used on it. Now that's a test piece. Now this is what I actually used on the rocket. So let's just do this. If I can find the pencil, there we go. Okay, here's what you want to do when you're doing this. By the way, you could get really crazy with this. Okay? You can make any kind of design you want, but when you go on the rocket, put the smallest trace out on there first. So when you put this piece on, in this case, it will be a center. This is center of air pressure symbol. I thought I'd add that to the rocket just to add a little bit more detail to it. So this is what you get, like that. Okay. I don't know what color is best to use first or not, but okay, when I did the rocket, I used the red first, and then I went over it with the black. So I'm going to try the black. Okay, that paint that's already on there, it's really done. Okay, I'm not sure I'm going to be done with this. I might demonstrate that other piece. I just worried about batteries running out and all that stuff. Okay. Very little paint on that brush. Now we're going to use that dabbing technique because that little thing is so small. See how you can make a nice circle around something. I'm having a little trouble because I don't have those magnifiers on, but you'll get the idea. Sometimes you gotta lick your fingers so you can grip it, so you can rotate it. Just take your time. All this stuff is gonna be cosmetic for the rocket. Make it look better than ever. Ooh, there's a lot of paint on there, you can see that. Not a lot, but more, so you gotta be careful. Work your way around. Okay, like that. Like that. Now I'm gonna come over on the other side of that. Okay, I need a little more paint than that on there. It's much easier to come back and then fill it in after you get the lines in. Like I said, this one's not going to be so perfect because I'm just demonstrating this. So that's it, spill the water. Good thing that wasn't on my rocket. Dab. I'm dabbing. You can actually paint things using a sharp toothpick too if you really want to get detailed. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Okay, now you fill that by dabbing it. Oh boy, that paper. God, I had to spill that water on there. It's really hard to do this with all this camera stuff in the way, and I'm sitting in a weird position. There we are. Now you look at that. Okay, there's a little bit. It needs a little bit if it's out of round, if you're picky. I need it right there. Very careful adding that. Okay, now I'm going to take this spilled water, clean the brush. Now we're going to go to yellow. Boy, you got to make sure all that black's out of there. Not yellow, we're going to go to the red. Like that. If there's any black in that and it mixes with that red, it'll ruin it. Okay. Shake the paint up. Shake it up, baby. Twist and shout. Don't need much there. Okay. I really like the way this paint flows. Now here's the kind of a tricky part. Okay, this is gonna be a dabbing thing. I hope that's dry. Okay, so far so good. Just dip that in the paint and start in the middle. Slowly dab out to the black. Okay. Okay, looks pretty good to me. Clean the brush. Rotate. Do that Bob Ross thing. Okay, double check the brush. If there's any red paint left in there, any other, just keep cleaning it, doing that rotating thing. So that's pretty cool. So that's how you do that. And I think I'm going to show you guys one more. Okay, let's see if I can I don't even have a template for that. I got it, but it's somewhere. There's this, I'm just gonna do it like this. Say, this is the rocket again. Okay, work my way up. Oops, that was good, huh? That's an easy fix, though. I mean, that kind of junk's gonna happen. The paint wasn't dry. It's okay. Not worried about that one. Okay, now, let's see. This is a center of gravity symbol, which is on the rocket. Should always be. Okay, that was pretty good for freehand. It should always be in front of the center of pressure. Black, white, should I think I've got this black one over here. Doesn't matter what color, because we're just going up to those lines. I'm gonna take, okay, the black is still good. And I'm gonna do the same thing here. Like that. Let me tear that wet part of the paper off of there. There. Bye-bye. Okay. Now, like before, let's see. Same kind of thing. In the case of the crosshairs, you want to paint down the center of those lines, because we got some white to fill on the other sides. Can dab that in there like that. Okay, now. Yeah, all this painting we're doing is done with that template removed off the rocket, so you're going to be holding your breath a long time. If you can learn to hold your breath long enough, who knows, maybe you'll be a skin diver someday. Hold your breath. Yeah, bad joke. Okay. Well, I'm already over here. Dab. This will be a little bit sloppy. Okay, let's see. Okay. Just like this. I said it's gonna be a little sloppy. Okay. There's the tricky part. We need a line on there. Might as well do this, because you could get that white paint if you have an accident here. Like that. That isn't half bad. Okay. I want to make that line thin as possible. Okay, there's a little bit too much on there, but we already know how to repair that. Now we're going to the white, and again, get that brush clean. No black on it. Okay, white time. Okay. Whew. A lot of breath holding. Okay, I'm gonna go over here and do that side, because if that's wet or isn't dry all the way, then you got a different kind of a problem. Now in this case, as I'm filling that, I'm gonna fill it first and then dab it up to those lines. Rotating that so I get the flat part where it belongs. Dab, dab, dab. Whew. This is tough. Like I said, you want to be able to pull this off. Good idea to practice. Do a dummy one. Hope that camera is picking this up. See, by dabbing it, you get more paint loaded up in one area. If you brush it, it kind of like pushes the paint out of the way and you don't get as much paint. That's not too bad. Okay, you see that edge there? I'm going to remove some paint off that brush. You can see that. And I'm going to knife edge that thing right there to make it sharper. A little better. Okay, next. Kind of dabbing it right up against the black, but not into the black, because it might mix the paint up or whatever. Okay, let's see. See how I could fix that black line like that. If I want to do it, go back with some yellow, and there's that little jagged. Okay, could use a little lightning right there. Alright. Just for demo, it's not absolutely perfect because I just hand did that. Let's see, can I make that better? I think I want to make that better. So, right there, as you can see, that's kind of cockeyed. So I want to bring this. If you dab it, you can get away with putting that right over the top of the black. Oh, that's much better. Okay, clean the brush. You can pinch that, see what I'm doing here? Take the brush, put it in between a layer of paper, pinch it flat, not that way, but this way, and just pull the brush out. Just like that. I got some yellow left now. See that? Oops, I think, oh, the yellow's dead. Okay, so. I don't know if there's enough yellow there. It's kind of watery because of Okay, I need the yellow. Come on. There we go. Now I got the paint. Sort of. Okay. Now, instead of brushing, you dab it. That way you get the most amount of paint on there. Get it all the way up to that black. That's good that these errors are happening, because then, see, I'm feathering it before it dries. That way you get rid of that line and it blends it in to the surrounding color a lot better. Ooh, look at that, huh? Just about repaired. Wash the brush. Pinch it off, grab some black. Good, I think I have enough black, and then repair that. Here we are. See, all accidents can be repaired. Okay, one more thing. Okay, you see there's a little bit of black missing on that. Well, I didn't have to clean the brush. I need to dab on right there to get rid of those bad spots. While I'm here, I can see some pencil line there, and that's out around right there, so get the flat part of that brush, start dabbing away, push that edge up a little bit. There we go. Oh, that's good enough for a demo for right now. Clean the brush, look at it, clean the brush, okay, pinch it off. And there we go. Okay, that's how you paint decals on there. Let's see if this is dry enough. Boy, you gotta make sure that's dry. I got the pencil in the wrong place, so you could come by and ever so lightly. On the rocket itself, you can't even hardly see the pencil on there anyway, so that might not even be necessary. So there you go. That's how you do that. That's how I painted on that rocket, and yeah, I spent several hours on that, and experimenting and all that kind of stuff. Yep. Okay, where's my paper? Ah, it's on the paper, man. Decals, larger decals. Sam. Alright, now we're going to show you Open Rocket. Get this thing open. After a million years or so. Okay, come on. Alright, here's Open Rocket. Open Recent. I'm not going to show you too many details on how to work this program. There's plenty of YouTube videos. Over here in this box you can see all the components. I'll show you one here on that fin. That was the most complicated one. Come over here to the shape, and you can see you got a drawing over here. Like that. There's our fin. I had to draw that on there and get the shape right and everything, and then it shows you over here what you have it set at, the thickness and all that stuff. Override, mass, tabs. I don't use fin tabs. We just glued it on there. Anyway, there's that. Okay, and I drew this all out, all the pieces one at a time going through here. It wasn't that bad. Right here you could see the weight of the rocket, like on mine, 1.48 ounces. That was way too heavy. And then with the motor on it, it's 1.78. Okay. Now when you want to load a rocket motor in here, come over here, new configuration. Okay. There's a list of all the rocket motors you could buy. Okay, you can go on YouTube and look up how to do that, but you select the rocket motor, no motors. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to go back over here. If I would have selected that same rocket motor, you would have seen the same one on there twice. Let's get rid of that. Can I delete configuration? Yeah, okay. Anyway, oh, if you look back here, there's no rocket motor, right? Click on this. Look at right here too. Watch what happens. Boom. And it automatically puts in the weight. It actually changes the balance point and everything. Automatically. By the way, I determined this center of gravity by just putting my finger underneath there and balancing the rocket where it bounces exactly, perfectly, without the motor in it. And it came out to about 16 over here. 16 inches from the nose right back here. And when you put the rocket motor, it comes all the way back here past 18 inches. There's a ruler right there. But anyway, you can come over here and go flight simulation. Okay, new simulation. Let's click on that and see if it'll fly it. You got wind conditions, like about 5 miles an hour, standard deviation, blah, blah, blah. I added this right here. This is the location. The launch rod that you use on a rocket, the length of it, you got to put that in there. Temperature, it keeps changing back to, I want to say that 85 degrees. That's like average. Simulate and plot. Bam. Okay. And here's this right here. 174 feet. It matches everything up there. That's all we get with the weight of the rocket. And then when it's coming down, it comes down about 9 feet per second. Let's see. Can I plot that? Plot it, export right here. Click on that. Okay, let's see. Simulation name. Okay, plot it. Oh, that's if you want to print it. You could do it to a PDF. Let's see. Edit. Run. plot and export. Where's that view? There's an outside view. Simulation. Yeah, here we go. Okay, plot. I'm going to hit plot. It doesn't say print. You can select what you want to see on the plot. This is what I was after. Good. You can see this. You can see how quick the motor fires up and then how quick it dies out. Some smoke coming out. Other deals here. This is vertical velocity. That's pretty fast for a little rocket motor, huh? 105 miles an hour, or is it feet per second? Feet per second. Then it shows you as it goes up. At apogee, it was over 170, and then the rocket ejected as it was coming back down. It's really hard to get this right there at that spot. You could do that by changing the weight and things, but this is good enough for mine. Then it comes down. Here's your altitude right here, something as the altitude and vertical velocity. And then these are the seconds across the bottom, and it touches down after 21 seconds. Pretty cool. Show data points. Yeah, you can get into that. I like that graph. It's pretty cool. Okay, now where's that other one? There was another view of that plot. It's like just a list of stuff. Let's see, rocket design, move up, move down, duplicate, delete, don't want to do that. It's in there somewhere. Flight simulations. Yeah, you know what? When you don't use a program every day, then it's like having to relearn this every time. I think export simulation table. That's probably it right there. Okay, I'm going to put that on my desktop. I'll just type in any old thing there just to get it to work. Okay, let's see what that looks like. It's a PDF file. Maybe that's what I'm looking for. Maybe it isn't. Come on, boy, it's so slow. Let's go. That's not what I was looking for. I don't like that. Okay, never mind that. Anyway, this is Open Rocket. I like to design and build the rocket in here because there's no problem with internets and any kind of thing like that. It just works perfectly. Anyway, let's exit. Wait a minute, there's something I gotta show you. Oh, look at these views. Back view. Okay, let's move. Can I move that up there? Good, bigger view. Okay. Not only that, you have 3D figure, which you can manipulate like that. Then you have unfinished view. See all the inside parts? They're showing the motor in there. Isn't that cool? You can rotate it, do all kinds of things. Then you can see the finished model. Pink, just like that. You can actually make the background back here black. I've done it. I'm not sure how I did that. Let's see. Preferences. Okay, let's see. Interface, light, default, dark, high contrast, dark. Oh, you must restart. Okay, never mind. Anyway, there's our rocket. Yeah. Then there's that space view. Let's see, where in the heck is that? Space view. Tools. Photo studio. Boom. There we go. See that? You can change these settings over here to any direction that you want. I thought that was pretty cool. And you can manipulate this any way you want. You do like a screenshot of this, and then you can process that image in GIMP or something, and it looks a lot better than if you export this image and it's all like, ugh, low resolution. It doesn't look really good at all. Anyway, that's enough of Open Rocket. Okay, do I want to save? I don't need to save anything in there because it's already done. Come over to Roxanne, open that up. Okay, that opened up pretty quick. You can export from OpenRocket to RockSim recent, which I did here. There's our model, which I built in the other program. This has a little bit different look and layout. Some of this looks better, some of it does not. The 3D views kind of look cruddy. 3D, yeah, ooh. Yeah, this is the one. That's where I got the black background. It's not bad, but you know, you can't see the motor in there. It's not as good, quite as good as the other one. Go back to that view. Simulation. Boom. You got in this one, you got to prepare to launch. Then you come over here and choose engine. Now we have a body tube diameter, and this is a list of engines that we can fit in there. Select that. You come over here where it says plugged. Select 4 seconds. That's the way the motor comes. 4-second to delay. And launch. Boop. Okay, there we are. And we get about the same altitude as the other program we calculated, so it's pretty doggone close. Now here's what's unique about this program. Okay, I'm going to come over here and select this graph. Okay, plot graph. This one looks a little different, like that. Okay, let's see. Where's the other one? There's a different list, and it looks really nice. I don't remember where it was. Now here's what's unique about this program. Bam! Check this out. Here's our rocket. I used my design to make this little rocket on here. There's a way to do that. And then you can launch it clicking this thing. 3, 2, 1, blast off. 3, 2, 1, blast off. There it goes. This is the way mine's going to come down. See that? And I don't know if I set the wind or anything to 5 miles an hour like I did on the other one, but whatever this is, I think it's stock at 2 miles an hour. As you can see, it's over 120 feet. I got to walk to pick the model back up. Pretty cool. Alright, let's see, what did okay, I don't need to show you anything much more than that. That's RockSim. Let's see, let's come over to mass override. Okay, there's that. Yours, 0.8 ounces. Okay, there we go. Now, kind of come back over here to simulation, prepare for launch. Gonna load that motor. On here you gotta load up that. You can see what the different altitudes or how it's gonna fly. The A10 sounds like a more powerful motor, but it isn't. The A3 and A10, the A3 burns longer but not as much power. The A10 burns quicker with more power, but it doesn't burn for as long. And then at that, you'll actually get less altitude. Ejection charge 4. Launch. And there's this one. Got 284 feet on that one. Let's go see what this one looks like. Okay. You know what we didn't do? I did not put the... Otherwise, it would be way over here. I didn't add the wind. So I think it's set at 2 miles per hour stock. So here's the one with the 16-inch parachute. And it's like really long. It's probably 30 seconds or something like that. Yeah, do a little bit of, oh, where's it gonna land? Could run out there and try and catch it. Gotta be careful doing that with a paper rocket. Might end up crumpling the thing. But yeah, this is really a neat program. I don't know if you can export this video, but you can do like a OBS. That's what I'm recording this video on right now. The screenshot recorder. You can look that up. Really good. Anyway, that's RockSim. Exit. Make any changes? No, I'm not going to change that. Okay, and there we go. Alright, there we go. just showed you a little demo on how to paint decals. And from back here, you know, it don't have to be absolutely perfect down to the millionth of an inch. You know that. Because, yeah, from a distance, who cares? It's going to look perfect. How does that look, huh? Not bad, huh? This rocket, get over here without wrecking it. And this is what we got here. Like that. Like that. Pretty nifty. I like the thickness of the lettering, like I said before, on there. And then again, this thing here, I just used that little brush, and I brushed a little silver in there to give it some aluminum effect. Get as creative and detailed on that rocket motor. You could even have made a bunch of little parts to put out of that paper. But there we go. One completed rocket ship. Well, you know what? I might not even waste my paint or the time on this side. I might. But yeah, I actually had to replace that parachute. And I do have some pictures of that. You could see that. That's the picture of it cut out and laying on my surface there with the strings attached. I instead of 6, I used 8 shroud lines. That added more weight to it too. But in that size of a parachute, it would be really funky looking. I want a nice looking parachute. So I used 8 shroud lines on that 16-inch parachute. Then after I got it all assembled, this is what it looks like. Got the shroud lines all tied up, and I put a little swivel hook on there. That way you could just make one really good parachute, take your time, and you could remove the parachute off the rocket and use it in another rocket if you wanted to. I weighed this rocket, and with it all right now, it's like too heavy, but it came out without the engine to 1.48. With the engine in there, it came out to over 1.7 ounces. And that was not my intent, so I think I'm going to just make another one of those. It only takes about 8 to 10 hours to make one when you're not having to film and edit and doing all that stuff. But I want to get that 280 feet. That'll look damn high with a rocket this size and still be impressive and everything. And with the bigger parachutes that we're using, you don't want the thing to blow away and never get it back, which could happen. So lower altitude flight, I think, looks better. You can see all the action, and if the parachute's big enough, it'll come down really slow. So you got a long flight. It might take 3 or 4 seconds to get up high as it's going to get. And then it takes about, 25, 30 seconds to float back down, so you get a nice long flight out of the deal. Okay, anyway, please subscribe, smash that like button. We will see you on the next episode, which will be part 1 of the big one. Oh, I gotta show this to you. This is my design to prove that all these parts and everything this time, everything should go smoothly. Just do what the drawings show, and there'll be no like build as you go like this last one. So here's the part that was going to be way up there. And then the fins fit perfectly, the skin fit perfectly. Everything is proved to fit perfectly on here. And what's unique about this model, the nozzle is going to be the part like a bayonet. Twist it and pull it out, drop the motor in, stick the nozzle back on, twist it, and you got your motor mount. This is big enough to easily do that. It's going to be really cool. But this rocket really shouldn't take too much longer to make than that one, except for that nozzle engine mount part. You could see that plug in there. So that's designed, the skin is designed, just about, I have not designed the nose cone yet, so it's a matter of scaling that up, and then I'll prove that that works, making a dummy one. And I'll have that ready to go by the time we get up there. But that's pretty cool. It's going to be a rocket twice the size of our Spear 30. Okay, this is a Spear. No, it's a 56-inch. It's not double the size because the diameter, I made the diameter not 3 inches, but a little bit smaller than that, so we could just make that body tube out of one sheet without having to glue sheets together. Okay, and that would be kind of a bummer. But as I got it going right now, this ought to be really cool. It's going to be 56 inches tall. Anyhow, thanks for watching. Smash that like button. Please subscribe so you won't miss any episodes. And we're going to start with part 1 next week if all goes right. So this is the Gadget Man 369 signing off.